Alright, we're back. What's up, YouTube? It's Hunter. I'm here with another video. Uh, I work 6 days a week. Today is my day off. It is Monday, March 9th. So, no Bush Light the tall way or Bush Heavy the tall way today. We're going Red Bull the short way. If you haven't tried this new flavor, White Peach, I go sugar free. I'm trying to lose some weight. Um, it's delicious. So, we got to do it. Cheers. Cheers. All right. So, my last video, I didn't really have much to talk about, and today is a bit the same, but there is something interesting I'd like to talk about, and that is a very interesting person. Now, for a little preface, this man has been on the Joe Rogan Experience numerous times, over five, I believe. And there's a reason why he's been on there so many times. It's because he's super interesting, very smart, and that person is Eric Weinstein. Eric is a middle-aged man. He doesn't call himself a physicist, but he's very smart. I believe he is a tax analyst or something like that. He does differential equations, which is very good to judge where the market goes, the stock market. And so I wanted to make a video about him because, man, I think this guy is super interesting. If you guys have not heard of Eric Weinstein, I really, really recommend the Joe Rogan Experience, episode number 1946. I think that's the number. It's the newest one, but not the one with Terrence Howard. It's the one right before that. I have been watching this same podcast. I think it came out 3 or 4 years ago, and I have been watching it multiple times ever since it came out. Um, I like to put my headphones in while I work. I usually just have to do like minimal tasks, and so it really helps time go by. And I was listening to the Joe Rogan Experience, man. I've heard a lot of interesting things on the program. People like Graham Hancock, Randall Carlson, a lot of the MMA, UFC fighters he has on there, comedians. Tim Dillon, shout out, he's fucking hilarious. Um, so yeah, Eric Weinstein, he really thank you, Eric. If you ever see this, Eric, I cannot say how much I personally appreciate you for coming into the mainstream and putting your credibility on the line and saying things that I don't hear. And I've heard a lot of these physicists talk. People like Brian Green or Brian Cox, Sean Green, maybe I think that's his name. Michio Kaku. Um, what's that other? Neil deGrasse Tyson. I've seen these podcasts and they say interesting things. They're smart people, but none of them really push um, the status quo. Um, they don't go out they excuse me they don't go outside of like textbook physics, mathematics. They don't really push the theories any further. I think they're very good, mathematicians and stuff like that. I think they're very textbook. And Eric is so brave for um, challenging these baseline beliefs. Maybe challenging is the wrong word, but anyway, I'm not going to get into it too much. He's very interesting points that he makes. And once again, thank you, Eric, so much for what you've done for me personally, because you really have helped me think outside of the box. And I think a misconception when it comes to academics is that you have to be an MIT graduate or a Harvard doctorate in order to have credibility in these types of fields. And really, I don't think that you do. I think that you can be self taught and have made bad decisions in your life, especially in your early life, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're ignorant. Perfect example. Joe Rogan makes Eric Weinstein feel cool, and Eric makes Joe Rogan feel smart. But Joe is smart. He's very inquisitive, which is a admirable trait. It's a great quality to have. Um, so yeah, but what's really cool is in this on Joe Rogan Experience 1946 with Eric Weinstein, they talk about a whole lot of things. And I've seen the podcast, or I've seen it, but I've listened to it. I don't even know how many times. It's like a 4 hour long podcast, and I've listened to it over 30 times. And that sounds crazy, but he says really interesting things and it makes time go by. It works my brain and I just love it. I love the podcast. I've actually recently been getting into his older podcasts with Joe and they're very interesting as well. I need to watch them more to really understand and digest all of the things that this man says. But 1946, the episode on Joe Rogan, I can comfortably say I know a lot of this stuff just from muscle memory. And super interesting, guys. So I love the stock market. I think it's very interesting. I have family that work for like traders and stuff. They do like desk work, but they've been in it my whole life, and so I've just kind of grown up around it. I kind of understand how it works, and Eric, he talks some about the market and stuff, but he mentioned in this podcast um, what he calls 0 day exploits. Look into it, watch the podcast. But I've seen this podcast so many times, and I love the stock market. I like to invest in things that I think will be worth money. So, interestingly enough, without ever knowing, I had some silver. And I ran into this fella. He's a good old man. He makes these coin rings. So, like, this one's made out of a $50, a JFK $50. It's silver. And I had a silver $1 from 1968 whenever it was the Mexican Olympics. So it was a Mexican Olympic silver coin. And here it is. I wear it all the time. Let's see if I can get it focused. So I record these videos on my phone. So you're not really going to be able to see the stuff too much. You might be able to see the Olympic rings right there where I'm kind of shining the light. Anyway, so this is a 1968 Mexican Olympics coin that I had, and I met this man that makes them into rings. I had him make it into a ring for me. And it wasn't maybe a week later, I was listening to the podcast, and I noticed something that I had never noticed before. And Eric was talking about 0 day exploits, and there was a guy in the Mexican Olympics in the Olympics in Mexico City in 1968, and he invented or came up with where they jump over the I think it's called a hurdle or something like that. They jump with the pole over the fucking the tall beam. Anyway, everyone used to jump over it going forwards. Like they jump and like dive over the board, right? But this guy, I can't remember his name, but in 1968 he invented jumping over it backwards. And I've seen the podcast so many times. I've heard it so many times. And I had never noticed that Eric spoke about this guy in particular in reference to 0 day exploits. And I had just so happened found a Mexican Olympics coin from 1968 at a great price, by the way. Bought it. I thought it looked really cool. I thought the coin looked great. I wanted to make it into a ring. I had to make it into a ring. I was wearing the ring, listening to a podcast, and I realized that he mentioned just that. And so I just think it's the coolest fucking thing. It's crazy how things happen. I have plenty of silver coins that I could have had made into a ring. I wanted this one to be made into it. I thought it looked really cool. And yeah, I mean, Eric, I think that you're fucking awesome, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Peace, not war. Love, not hate, man. So yeah, that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about today. You guys should look into this guy. He's super interesting. So yeah, guys, I wanted to make this video and just kind of give my opinion on this dude. So if you don't mind, if you made it to the end of the video, thank you so much. Like, comment, and subscribe. Put down what you're drinking down below. Today, we're going to try to stay off the alcohol. Maybe I might drink a little tonight. Um, so, yeah, that's about it, guys. Cheers.